Right, guys, welcome to another episode of Aussies taking over the NBA. We've got some weekend games to wrap for you guys. Also, we're going to be going through the Markelle Fultz saga and what the Kyle Korver trade means for Utah. It's a bit of a strange trade, if you ask me. What that really means for Exum at the Jazz. Remember, you can like, share, and subscribe. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for exclusive video content. Find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and all your RSS podcast apps. We're going to get into it. First game is the Cavs and the Celts. And finally, some Celtic victory and some efficient scoring.
Yeah, they just got out there 95 to 128, so a win for the Celtics, taking them to 12-10. Just good to see them get out there and just slap around a team like the Cavs, who are struggling.
The Cavs put two good games together.
Yeah,
like, we were like, oh wow, they've come out and played some basketball, and now they're just lulled back into their garbage fest.
So they were 0-10. 0-9 before they beat Philly, and then to make them 1-9, and then this game made them 1-10 away from home. So away troubles for the Cavs.
Yes.
The order of their season so far. It's just a shame that it happened to be breaking that Philly home streak.
Oh, well, you lose some, but Philly's on the rebound.
Yeah.
Bainesy had good 23 minutes. He was 10 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists. Good plus 28 on the night.
I'm not sure if Horford started this game or not.
No, he's. I think he's out injured, actually. He's got a bit of a niggle going on his foot.
Yeah,
if I've read correctly,
or a knee or something like that. I think he was out for a couple of games, but he wasn't playing well. He hasn't started the season very well.
But maybe he has like a Kyrie thing where he's just had this niggling injury for ages. And you just got to sit out a few weeks and
I wonder if
rest and repair.
He has kind of been struggling with injury a little bit, and that's affected his game. Jaylen Brown's also been out for a couple of games as well, and he didn't start the season well either.
He hasn't been playing well at all.
Nah.
For his third year. He's kind of like gone down from, I think, what was the gelling last year, but it's a different game playing with Kyrie as opposed to playing with Rozier. I think Rozier will give you more opportunities to showcase your individual talents, where some games Kyrie will just take the ball and just play Uncle Drew and kick things along pretty swiftly.
I feel like he doesn't Uncle Drew enough, because basically he doesn't want to take this team over and just be seen trying to jack up shots or go full Uncle Drew mode, because he is such a selfless teammate that is kind of affecting the team. Marcus Smart played well in this game. His style of play, they're just missing one more of that player. Like if you look at Hayward, Tatum, and then Brown, one of those guys, if they were like a junkyard style player like Smart or Morris, then that'd fit way better. Like, I think Tatum's just a little bit too passive. Brown is more of a silky smooth player, and then Hayward is, you're less of your alpha type trying to fit in with this team. So I think they're gonna jumble that around and get it right eventually.
They seem to be starting to build a bit of momentum. I think Hayward is heating up a bit, 14 points this game. I think that they really need to get some sort of catch and shoot going. Hayward would be much better advised to be that kind of catch and shoot player, because they're all kind of try and create their own shot. Marcus Morris, Marcus Smart, they kind of like create their own shot point, 3-point players. But again, you're playing the Bucks. This was Alex Burke's first game from Utah. And he played quite well, 17 points. Efficient minutes. 15 points, 6 boards and 4 assists.
4 of 11 from the field, but none of 4 from 4. 7 points from the line, 7 of 8 from the line. But I think he's going to fit this team better. Like, he fit the Utah team, but obviously his role had been reduced so far down that he probably wasn't getting enough time to play for Utah. But I feel like his game is going to fit this team better. And obviously the George Hill injury, he's going to get a lot more minutes sort of backing up Colin Sexton at point guard. And I think he's more versatile as a ball handler, and they were missing that other ball handler. Hood's not the greatest ball handler. He's kind of more of an off-ball guy. But I just think the Cavs, now that they're 4-17 to start the season, they're just going to blow it up.
They're going to get RJ Barrett or Zion Williamson.
I think they're going to grab one of those and have to rebuild.
I think with a guy like Zion, though, with Colin at the helm, Kevin Love That's a kind of
Yeah.
a scary triple come next year, but I think it's definitely lights out season wise for them.
Yeah.
Irving made 11 of his 15 shots. He's looking scary. He's starting to
man.
really heat up.
You got to think too, coming into the playoffs, it's a totally different environment where last year they didn't have Kyrie in the playoffs.
No.
So they had to go into the playoffs in that rhythm basketball style mentality. Whereas I think Irving's greatest influence on their team is going to be in the playoffs when nothing's happening. Right,
Yeah.
I have the license to just go Uncle Drew and score. Whereas you're not really going to see that in the season. I don't think he's that kind of alpha player.
Well, I don't think he's allowed to be the alpha player.
Well, I don't think he wants to be anyway. Like, it doesn't fit a rhythm mentality, like getting out there, just playing basketball, trying to win games. It doesn't quite fit. But once you come down to a showdown, I think that's where he's going to really shine.
It's kind of that Jimmy Butler acquisition. It's that, all right, we've got 3 minutes left, we're 8 points down. What do we do? All right, we're going to palm this ball off to you and you're going to do something.
And he's taken over a couple of games already this season.
Yeah, he has.
And had good games.
They needed it.
Yeah.
It wasn't happening offensively, but it's nice they got that player that can do that. We'll move on.
Yeah.
Jazz and Hornets. This was a sorely needed win for the Jazz, who are really struggling in the West.
They're struggling. I've put the touch of death on them with my predictions.
You did. Jingles is
he's struggling, man.
He's not playing well at all. 6 points.
Yeah, he had some foul trouble early. So he had 3 fouls, I think, in the first or second minute of the second quarter. He was basically on 3 fouls and had to sit all of the second. I'm pretty sure it was.
They're just not getting him looks.
Nah, we said on the last episode, like, it feels like he's taking on more of an I have to hold the ball and make things happen role.
Yeah.
Which obviously we'll go through that Korver trade after this, but which makes that Korver trade a bit unusual.
Makes it even kind of...
you kind of want that third ball handler. Why is that?
But why have you've got a catch and shoot player in Ingles who should really be running plays through Mitchell and Rubio. The driving kick to Ingles. You've got a very good 3-point percentage shooter. But you're not running the plays for him. It's just Mitchell just trying to be Michael Jordan, getting to the rim and not as smart, driving into traffic and jacking up shots at will. And he'll either win or lose your games. It's kind of like a 50-50. It doesn't feel like the team is won. Exum was DNP this game, coach's decision.
So he didn't get any minutes. So this was Korver's first game. And admittedly, he played 22 minutes, 5 of 7 from the field. He was 4 of 6 from 3. 14 points, so a good start from him.
Yeah.
He looked quick too. Like, it was... he took advantage of the way you look at Exum and Rubio get to the basket, and Neto, when he comes on, can drive and score. Like, it looked like he took advantage of that. And he's, 38 or 37?
37.
I wonder how long that's going to last when he's, quick enough to get to the rim and do a lot sort of with the ball.
He seems pretty fit for an old dude, though. Not
So
old, but, getting into the twilight years of his NBA career.
It's a good thing for the team in general, because I think another shooter was needed, like another knockdown shooter. But if you're not creating those knockdown opportunities, even for Ingles, maybe that'll be a good thing. I mean, we'll go through it later, but we'll get to more on the game. Royce O'Neal, 25 minutes, only 3 points. Jay Crowder played a lot better in this game. He had 6 of 10 from 3. And then if you look at Donovan Mitchell, obviously 12 of 22, so high volume, but they seem happy with that.
They do seem happy with that.
Weird.
Yeah, I thought that they'd be running more plays to get guys open looks. I thought that would be Quinn Snyder's kind of... Because that's what they were doing. They were kind of getting in the face last year.
Yeah.
Mitchell was averaging a lot more assists last year, trying to get people open, playing a bit more of that ball handler role when Rubio had long stretches of injury and, like, playing the PG.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well... You should be doing that as the second ball handler and still looking for your guys like Crowder and Ingles and now Korver to get them on the 3-point line and shooting.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't seem like he does a lot of that. It seems like, all right, I'm just going to take the ball and jack up threes.
Who's that? Mitchell?
Yeah.
And even going to the rim, he seems to just try and finish through guys a lot. Like 2 or 3 guys collapsing into the paint. Like, he won't use Rudy Gobert that much.
Like, he's 2 of 7 from 3 points this game. So he's more of that kind of drive and try and, shoot in traffic or shoot through 4 guys. I I'm liking his style of play less and less in this system. It doesn't seem to be effectively, moving the right pieces into the right places to get. And it's obviously not winning games. They're coming third last in the West. Mind you, there's still only 5 games between first and last.
But so you
first
look
and second last.
But you look at the playoff, like we were just talking about with Kyrie Irving. You look at the playoffs versus regular season. And in the playoffs is where this kind of basketball shines, that slow, grindy, I can just get to the rim and, it doesn't matter if I shoot 8 of 30.
No.
We got the win and we moved on. And that was really good in that OKC series where I still think he took a lot of really bad shots. And
yes.
I was thinking to myself in those series, like, it doesn't matter because he's a rookie and you just say, well done. That's great, but in his second year, you kind of need to go somewhere with that. You can't just keep taking keep driving. And
we just seems to be like business as usual. Second year,
yeah, the same sorts of things.
And I think if you look at him and Simmons, who obviously was rookie of the year, Simmons is starting to get a lot more sensible on his shot making and shot delivering. He's taking less shots outside 10 feet.
Yeah,
so he's backing down a lot more, and really playing big man game as like a 4.
Yeah,
which is strange.
Well, I wonder how effective Jimmy Butler, what effect Jimmy Butler's going to have. I
think since he's come on board, he's more aggressive.
And there's there's a stepping, he's like a stepping stone player. He's not a shooter effectively, or a 3-and-D guy like Covington, where you're having to use the space. Like, he's a guy you can toss short to. And he can create something, and you can move off ball and start influencing off the ball to get your own game going. Like, it's not just about him having the ball and trying to make plays the entire game, which is the big thing. I mean, we'll go through Philly after this, but that's the big thing about their game that's been a lot better. Gobert, we'll move on to Gobert. He just looks so slow, and
it's like Slender Man running up and down the basketball court. He is. I mean, he feasts against big, slow bigs like Zeller. Anyone's going to feast on Zeller, but as soon as you get someone at the elbow, it's game over. Lights out.
So in this game, he had a block against Zeller, and I was just telling you, it's like, that's such a low tier caliber block, man. Blocking Zeller or blocking Ingles or someone low caliber, and it just felt like he even roared at him get that shit out of here, and I was like, man, that's Zeller. That's Zeller. What? But they don't have an array of big men, the Hornets, to kind of get in the face of. Yeah,
the Hornets are missing a good center. A good 5 for the Hornets would change their gameplay. I think they're definitely going to make the 8 in the East this year. I think the
Hornets, I think they're going to. Yeah. I think it'll be close to. He actually got dunked all over by Bridges, and then he put the ball on the floor and went by someone. With the ball in hand from about the 3-point line, went through and dunked over somebody else. It was weird to see him put the ball on the floor and pretty much dribble from the 3-point line and dunk. Gobert, this is.
Yeah.
Crazy. You just think about big man having to be versatile now, more versatile. And it just looked like in slow motion. And he got there and he dunked all over. I think it was Michael Kidd-Gilchrist or something like that. But it just was in slow motion. I just thought to myself, wow, he is slow.
He's the ultimate just rim protector.
Yeah, it's something to be a bit worried about because the game's moving on from that, man. It's moving.
Yeah, it is. He's got to develop some sort of outside 10 feet game.
I don't think he can. I don't think he has a jump shot at all.
No, I don't think he has a jump shot either. But I mean, Mo Bamba has a jump. Mo Bamba has bigger dimensions than Gobert.
Yeah,
and he has a jump shot.
He's also way younger.
Yeah,
and has developed his jump shot recently. I mean, he's going to have to try and develop some sort of floor spacing shot. He just doesn't do enough around the rim.
The floater, the 10-foot floater would work well with his kind of arm length and ability to arc the shot. I think that's probably something he should work on. Just changes the paint.
Then, you look at Capella last season. Capella played really well in the regular season. He's a lot more mobile. He can move. He can't shoot, but he's a lot more mobile, and he's playing with Harden, who's one of the best drive and kick guys.
Yeah.
Smartest passers in the game. And the growth in Capella, you just don't see Gobert having
even
that
Whiteside.
kind of growth. He just still looks
out.
slow. Yeah. Whiteside's another good example. They played today. We'll go through that on a later episode. But I just don't see where his game's going to go. It's a bit of a worry, man.
Yeah.
And they just, the Jazz don't have that dedicated drive and kick scorer.
No.
That's what has to be Mitchell, and he doesn't use him.
No. Because Rubio has somewhat good handles outside but getting in, he's not really that kind of handles guy. Whereas Mitchell's got good handles. And he can get into the paint. And the problem is that he tries to finish over 3 guys instead of kicking it to the 2 guys that are now open because he's finishing over 3 guys.
And they know Gobert's just going to sit at the dunker spot so they can get bodies on him as well. Or if they screen and roll, they know to just put bodies on Gobert because he's so slow. But I was just looking at 2 field goals attempted by distance. Donovan Mitchell this year, 64% from 2. So 22% of his field goals have come from 3 feet, 21% from 3 to 10 feet. So that's 40% or 43% between 0 and 10 feet. Yeah. So that's over nearly half of his field goals coming from, at the rim basically or floater range. And he's just got to kick more, man. He's got to pass the ball out.
I definitely think you got to look at the Giannis factor and see what he's doing. I mean, he can finish a lot of those, but I think what he does is he collapses the lane, gets 3 guys on him, and kicks to a shooter. Yeah, and you've got some shooters. You've got Korver now. You've got Ingles. You've got Crowder. Even Rubio is known up to put the odd 3 up on his hot days. So watch this space. I hope to see some better play from the Jazz, but again, they're very, very, very cold. We'll go on to the next game, Wizards and the 76ers. Yeah. This game was hilarious. It was over at halftime. Yeah. The Wizards checked out. John Wall checked out. Yeah. Beal checked out. It was terrible to watch. Simmons, hilarious game. 25 minutes, he was perfect from the field. 8 rebounds, 10 assists, 1 steal. 6 turnovers, though, but plus 22 on the night. And
he's always a high risk, high reward player. He's going to get high turnovers. Yeah,
he's always trying to thread the ball. That's Philly's game. It's always going to be Philly's games. But yeah, Embiid had a double-double. I think this is his 27th double-double in a row of the season. In a row? Yeah. No, right. 27th of the season. Yeah. I think he had 16 in a row, missed one, and then this is about the 9th in a row. Wow.
It's crazy. A lot of double-doubles. But he's playing so much better this season, man. More movement, more...
he's quick. And he hunts blocks from ages away.
More power, and they're utilising him a lot better. He's not getting stuck in the post as much. He's
not trying to post up nearly as much. And
that's what I said that to you at the end of last season. Like, he's getting stuck in this loop of everything grinding to a halt and him trying to triple threat some guy down on the baseline and shoot a pretty much contested jumper. Like, once you get him moving around, like, the whole floor opens up. Even Simmons can kind of get to about 6
but that's what Simmons is doing. Simmons has kind of taken over that bang down low and beat role because I think he's a lot more mobile in switching and can kick and throw some better passes. So it seems to be working for him.
If he gets kind of switched onto guards from about 10 feet, that's when he'll back them down, Simmons. Yeah. But I find that even if he terminates the dribble around, the painted area, like in the key even, everyone knows to just run, like, crossover, and he's got options everywhere, which I don't think they were really doing last year. It was kind of tunnel vision mentality where he just had to get to the rim no matter what. Yeah. But now I think with Butler, they stop and pop in like a little short pass to Butler. A couple of times in this game, I was watching
the one through the legs. Did you see the one through the legs?
Yeah, that was the one. B3 through the legs, and even screened, which was good. But even like popping it to TJ, who could run across he could screen guys and let TJ get open for a little floater or toss it out. I think it was he hit Chandler in the corner for a nice 3. How's Chandler looking for you?
He's injured.
Now I'm pretty sure he played in this Wizards game.
No, he's injured as of today. He didn't play today. Yeah. He did play in this. Look, he's a good role player. I don't think he's worth $12 million a season. I think he's probably on the same lines of Muscala. Serviceable power forward. Yeah. But, it'd be nice for $12 million to get someone with a bit of oomph about them. Potentially could take the game by the balls. But it's not to be. You just wonder next season with Redick on yearly contracts, and I think Redick's just going to hang around until he goes, and they want him there.
Yeah, for sure. Good pro, good veteran.
He went from $20 million last year to 12 this year. You got to think, what's he going to be on next year? You potentially could have another $20 million man in this team for another year before Simmons goes on to a...
Butler?
Butler will get a max. I'm talking about on top of Butler.
On top of that, wow. That's pretty good.
Because the rookie lineup is all the way down to the end. Yep. Realistically, if Chandler gets waived, we've got some pretty cheap players in there outside of Philly are still 29th in salary cap.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So they were really clearing that space.
Yeah, they're clearing that space for a max sign. But yeah, this game was good. McConnell, I mean, very serviceable backup point guard. I read a really interesting article talking about McConnell and how the Sixers are, he's only worth a second round pick. And you're like, I wouldn't trade for a second round pick. Like, he's a extremely serviceable. Like, he comes on and changes games with energy.
That's where the value to your franchise is worth more than what the player can get on the open market. It's similar to Redick. Like, Redick really wouldn't be worth that much on the open market, but to Philly in the right system, he's worth a lot to that franchise in veteran experience, and he knows this group really well. So you're happy to pay that money for Redick. I mean, you wouldn't go out and I want Redick for $12 million on my team.
Yeah,
because there's no he's only got the shoot off the curl, and that's about all. Getting into the lane. Obviously, he's a low maintenance pro as well, so he's not going to get
he's a low
upset.
maintenance pro, but he's also the guy you want down the stretch to have the ball they foul, because he's 93% from the line.
Yeah, that too. Yeah,
there's a few things that he is worth $12 million, maybe not to other systems. He'd work well in the Bucks. Like, that's a system he'd work well in, is the Bucks.
Sure.
But with Simmons and Embiid, I think Embiid and Redick, you look at where most of Embiid's assists come from. It's Redick and then the screen. Gets assist and then the screen assist.
So there was no Otto Porter in this game, and someone else was out too.
Dwight Howard, he's out with a gluteal injury he's going to have operated on.
Yeah, microdiscectomy.
Yes.
Whew.
So that may be from the big black mamba.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
We'll talk about that. That's quite funny. But yeah, it was pretty much garbage time from 6 minutes into the third quarter.
Yeah, they blew it out.
Yeah, all the starters were off by 6 minutes into the third quarter, and McConnell pretty much steered Philly home with some Korkmaz.
How's he looking? And Shake Milton got some
Shake Milton got some minutes. Shake Milton looked good. Like, he really looked good. Definitely someone I would assume would get some more minutes going into the next couple of seasons as a bit of a project. Obviously, a deep second round pick.
Yeah,
54th pick.
I think he's on the two-way as well, isn't he?
Yeah, 45 days he can spend in the NBA.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, we've got some good G Leagues. Obviously, Bolden's out injured with that fracture, so he's going to be a few more weeks. But the band of brothers, which is the Simmons and Jimmy Butler, I think they've got a defensive partnership going. Whatever the fuck that means, it's strange. But
man, both of those guys, if Simmons can really learn from Butler and really have an effect on his defense and make it better, that's a good combination, man.
You should have seen the steal he had on. I think it was Memphis today. I forget who he's tracking down, but it was game saving. Realistically, it was the block on Embiid, and then tracking back from pretty much the baseline to steal the ball and get it back. He's definitely hustle on defense has gone up significantly this year.
Yep.
He's probably the only player that can guard 1 through 5 in the league.
Yeah,
realistically, and I think that impresses Jimmy Butler somewhat.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Jimmy Butler's probably the perfect perimeter defender for him to learn from.
Yes.
If he can, get some sort of defensive.
Could you just imagine if Covington stayed at the 4? Oh, this team would be fucking. It'd be hard to beat.
Yeah, man.
It'd be hard to beat.
Imagine, Simmons, Covington, Butler,
Embiid,
and then someone
and
Embiid. Yeah. Yeah.
But you wouldn't need Redick defensively.
Nah.
You Redick could switch on to the guard. He'd perfectly defend any point guard in the league. And you got Simmons and just mouth-watering. Anyway.
And then Fultz, if Fultz had
Fultz isn't a smart defender. He's got length, but he's not a smart defender. Again, young. He didn't play a lot of defense at Washington. It was more his offensive game. But if you go back and look at his pre-motorcycle accident, footage, wow, the dude. No wonder the dude was the number 1 pick. Looked really good. All right, let's move on to the Rockets and the Spurs. And the Spurs got absolutely blasted by the Rockets. The Spurs are so weird. Like, they just Some games they'll come out and blast someone, and the next game they'll just chunk by 30 points.
Yeah, it's weird. They lost 2 in a row. I think Timberwolves, the last game on our last episode,
That was
the
plus
Timberwolves
44
game,
Covington.
where they got destroyed. They're just a strange team. It was basically Capella just beasted in the. I watched this live and I turned it off at halftime. But basically, yeah, Capella just beasted LaMarcus Aldridge in the first, 10 minutes basically, and they were out to I think about a 12-point or 16-point lead. Pretty early in the second, and that was about it. That was all she wrote, really.
How did Patty go?
Patty did not play well. They exploited too because they got such a switchy lineup that they just kept switching on to Patty Mills and Harden on Patty Mills and then Chris Paul on Patty Mills, and it just kept switching and switching and switching, and that's obviously where Patty's game is probably at its weakest. He's on defense, on the defensive end. He only played 21 minutes, 2 of 7, 2 of 6 from 3, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, minus 15.
Still better than the starters in terms of plus minus.
Yeah. But they're such an unusual defensive team. Like when they're really on, they're on, but when they're not, it's just abysmal.
Yeah, it was abysmal. It's
LaMarcus got exploited. Rudy Gay was getting exploited. DeRozan's obviously not a Kawhi level defender.
DeRozan is shooting 17% from 3 this year.
Is he?
Yes.
That's horrible.
Horrid. He's all mid-range.
Yeah, he's always really been mid-range. It was only last year that he extended his range a bit further to the 3-point line. But really, he's mainly a mid-range player.
He's a high-volume mid-range player.
But the problem for the Spurs is they don't have those mobile big men and that main dedicated point guard to space the floor properly, and it just becomes a bit of a mess. And a switchy team like the Rockets and Chris Paul and Harden just pretty much took them to school.
Yes. They're smart players, Chris Paul and Harden. Yeah. They are smart players. But Houston will get feasted on this year.
Eric Gordon played really well in this game. Like Eric Gordon, when he's given the room to play,
he plays well.
Devastating,
he is. He's such a chub player.
Yeah, man. He's so chunky, and like anytime he's driving to the rim, even in traffic, you just think, he's going to score this.
Yeah, quite easily. And deadly from the corner 3. Chris Paul will get him open every time. Dallas and the Lakers.
Yeah. Did you watch that game?
I did.
Live?
No.
I watched the
replay.
Second half. Doncic in the second half was just horrendous. He had a couple of blocks on LeBron under the bucket. That was pretty sweet.
But he didn't play today due to injury, so maybe he was holding on to something a little bit. But yeah, he's playing well, but a little bit hot and cold at times. Sometimes very hot, sometimes very, very cold. But the Lakers really turning into the Cavs 2.0. Like just here, LeBron, you win the game.
Well, they're super fast still. They're playing really quick, and that's good for them.
Yeah, but that's good for them. But outside of LeBron, and Lonzo can't do this. They haven't got that player that can go, give the ball to me. I'm going to create something.
The Lakers.
They're kind of that team that plays well as a team of young guys running quick and using fast mobile offense as their counteract to like a little bit less defensive ability, like Ingram and Kuzma. Not as good defensively, but great offensively.
Yeah.
So that's the young and inexperienced. And so they're just relying on LeBron to just do LeBron. And he's getting up playing like 38, 39 minutes again. Like you see them early on in the season when they were losing, he was playing 28 to 32 minutes. It was kind of that. Now it's just like, we're exactly what happened with the Cavs last year. We've lost a whole bunch in a row. Just give the ball to LeBron.
Yeah,
and it's not working. It'll get them somewhere, but I don't think it's going to be a viable solution long term. And I can see LeBron, like there's already reports that Luke Walton's calling out plays and LeBron's not reacting to them.
Yeah, I think Walton's a better coach anyway than Ty Lue. Mainly because he is coming from a standpoint where I was already coaching this team properly and then I brought LeBron in. Whereas Ty Lue came into that team when it was already, he had taken over Blatt's style and made it his. You know what I mean?
I think that LeBron rises above the coach.
Yeah.
And this is the issue, is that when you have a coach who's now losing the ability of the star player to react to, the call-outs and the plays, and LeBron's playing 39 minutes what is the difference between now and the Cavs last year? He's not going to win as many games because he's in the West.
They have a lot better team than the Cavs.
I actually don't think that they do. I think the Cavs just played. They didn't play. Like, I mean, they didn't have a Kevin Love. Kevin Love's still a great player. They played at 5 last year, which was terrible. He should really be that stretch 4.
So I think from like the Lakers were already an all right coach team. So I think in a way it fits LeBron better for him to play like this in this team where the rest of the team's already used to playing a fast style. It's just in those moments where they turn around like and look at him like they're his dad and go, "What do we do, LeBron? Like, what do we do?" I still prefer that to 4 years of LeBron being there, just changing everything to the way he wanted it, and then a coach comes in and it's just like, "Well, I want to do it like this," and he goes, "No, we do it like this."
Yeah.
So I think if Magic Johnson can salvage that relationship aspect where it doesn't get too LeBron heavy over Walton, then they're going to be a better team because he's a better coach. Like he's got better tools to work with as well. You're just dropping that aspect of LeBron into that team as opposed to everything is just a vortex that swirls around LeBron and what he says goes. So they're playing a lot better now. I think JaVale's, I think he fouled out of this game pretty early in the fourth.
I think he's starting to get exploited a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think
Tyson Chandler's
taking a bit of his minutes.
Which is
Chandler's,
fine.
Chandler's not as good a scorer as McGee. I think McGee gets a lot into... I think his time at Golden State has allowed him to get into a lot of better scoring points.
Yeah.
Or scoring areas, sorry. And so him and Lonzo or him and LeBron can work quite well. And Chandler isn't your scoring option. He's like that rough and tumble big dude that just comes in and is just grizzly and...
Yeah.
That's it. So they've gone down in scoring because obviously they're giving more minutes to Chandler. I think it was a good acquisition because I think they needed rough, gritty big man because I don't think McGee is quite that.
Nah.
But I just think from a defensive standpoint, I think they're missing probably 1 or 2 defensive players.
Yeah. That play natural defense.
Like they don't have a 3-and-D player.
Nah. And
I think every team needs 1 3-and-D player. It doesn't have to be an all defensive team, but it needs to be a 3-and-D player, and they just don't have that. I think Lonzo plays quite well defensively. Watching him, and he's awesome, but his offensive limitations. I mean, he's terrible, ugly jump shot,
and he is a classic LeBron. What do I do? Type player.
Yeah,
and. I mean, it works, but it doesn't work. It's a bit of a just kind of a messy team that the cream is kind of rising to the top a little bit with LeBron.
They'll be at the playoffs. It's LeBron, but
part of it too. Like I wonder if everyone's just so used to seeing LeBron dominate that oh wow, he's actually taking some adversity for once in his career. How is he going to handle that? You know what I mean? Like people are just used to this guy dominating, and suddenly. I think in this team, he looks mortal, man. Like, he looks slower. He doesn't look like he fits 100% of the time. The other times, he's great. You know what I mean? Like, it just fully feels like the first time from what I can remember, there's cracks in his armor. Like, they're not making sure that all of those cracks are being papered over. They're kind of just going, okay, you're a guy with flaws. We'll play around you. And I think that's going to make him a better player. And that's going to make them a better team, accepting that he is slowing down and he has flaws.
Yeah.
Like, hot take on LeBron.
Well, he's not going to play the same speed he did 10 years ago.
He can't, man.
He's 34.
Even last year, like, he got to the finals. I remember saying to you,
but he was playing 44 minutes a game. I know. And he played all 82 games. It's ridiculous. And he still got them to the finals.
And it was an awesome season. He had such a good season.
He was MVP. Fuck Harden last year. LeBron James was MVP last year. You can't take away what he did.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
But you can't play that many minutes, man.
No,
like at some point in your career, you got to go, right,
not at 33.
I'm going to chill out. And also, I'm sure he's reacting to not playing all the time, not having all the control. Like, you've got to, at some point in your career, accept that you've got to just wind it back a little bit.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't seem like a guy who that's the way his mentality works.
No, he's going to go bullet a gate until he can't literally walk.
And that's not what you want, man. You want this guy playing another 4 years. I'm happy for him to play 30 minutes a night, influence this team. It's not finished. And I still think he's got 1 or 2 years of real prime, slowed down like chilled out LeBron, party time LeBron left in him.
Yeah. But again,
let's get back onto the Mavericks.
Mavs, yeah. Well, look, this was a disappointing loss for the Mavs.
Yeah, I know. They didn't play very well.
They didn't play. Doncic was pretty rubbish.
Yeah, 2 of
Barnes
13.
was good though. Far out, 10 from 10.
Yeah.
29 points. He is on fire. Brokoff had 3 minutes.
Yeah, garbage time at the end.
Garbage. But
JJ Barea got ejected as well. That was a bit funny.
How does that little man get ejected?
It was just a really chippy game because Doncic copped something like he had like a shiner under his eye. It was just a physical game. They just kind of bullied Doncic a little bit. Doncic hit a nice step back, like Dirk style step back. And then that was pretty much all I saw of him. Like, it was just missing shots.
I hope to see good old Dirk soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure what... He just had that foot surgery and he's still recovering, yeah.
I don't think we'll see him for any time soon. But let's get on to the next game.
Yep.
And the Bucks chunked to the Knicks, who were absolutely destroyed by Philly. The Bucks are 8-7 in their last 15.
Yeah.
After that 7-0 start. So maybe a few cracks.
Yeah, well, I said it. They've got to
Bucks.
learn to get through that, man. And they played really well in this game, and they let a few leads blow down the stretch. It takes going through that a little bit to understand how to play through that. Giannis got dunked on and then stepped over.
Yeah, and then he's like, I'm going to punch that guy in the nuts.
Yeah. And in the end, like right at the end of the game, he went for to tie the game. It was just blatantly fouled. And the ref just swallowed the whistle, and he went nuts, man. And I was like, "Oh man, don't knock the ref out or something." It looked like
that was a blatant foul.
And then there was another, Bledsoe went to the bucket, and he just blatantly got fouled as well. But this sort of stuff happens. They've got to learn as a team to accept it, deal with it. It was something that you weren't used to seeing, or I wasn't used to seeing the Bucks let leads slip. I thought it was interesting to watch. They're not a team that really lets lead, or they haven't really been letting leads slip. No,
they've been kind of adding and getting ahead when, playing even harder when they've got a lead. But again, a few good scorers. Giannis monstered. Bledsoe had 27.
Yeah.
Brogdon had 22, who's looking good. Brook Lopez is calmed right down.
Yeah, he's cooled off.
I mean, he was shooting ridiculously well, so that always had to come to an end. Thonny had some 13 good minutes, 9 points. 2 from 3, 2 rebounds and a steal. So he's +3 on the night in a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, they did everything right. I think they just got a couple of unlucky calls. It was on home turf for the Knicks. They just chunked woefully to Philly. And they were looking for maybe something to do with it. Kevin Knox had a fantastic baller game.
And I think it just came out of nowhere for him. Kevin Knox just got hot right at the end of that game. And it just came out of nowhere. It was a game where if any other team could have some random player, not saying Knox is a random player, but just a random player get hot, and I think he had 12 points in the last quarter and overtime. Teams can win games like that.
Well, that's what happened to Philly.
Yeah,
Mike Conley got hot last quarter, hit 18 points. They won. Kemba Walker, I mean, they still lost those games, but dropped 20 in the last.
Yeah,
it's happened to Philly a few times, and they've lost a couple of games from it. But again, if you're a team that plays well, most of the time this will not happen.
For sure. They have to go through this to learn from it, get in the fire and learn from it, because it's important as a team. That was their real Achilles heel last year. Is they kind of in crunch time they fell over, and I think Giannis's game winner was a bit awful too. I think they had 20 seconds on the clock. At the end, their late game execution was a bit awful as well. He tried to drive in and back down and bully in and just shot, I think, a 12 or 14-foot jumper. And it's Giannis, give that shot to someone else, bro.
No. I would have given that to Brogdon.
Brogdon or even Middleton, man, letting Middleton pull up in the lane. That's probably more his shot. Just looking at Lopez's numbers. So, from 6 of 12... Then he had 8 of 13, 2 of 5, 4 of 8, 2 of 7. He's just cooled off. 1 of 3, none of 12, 1 of 2, 1 of 4. So that's something to watch out for because... if Lopez was on fire start of the year and, if he's cooled down, that's a big scoring notch for them. Because they've got, outside of Giannis, they're 1 through 4 aren't that big. They're pretty a lean team defensively.
And Middleton isn't known for his defensive prowess. He's a fantastic shooter, but he's not known. He got benched the other night. Coach Bud benched him, and he came up and said, "Yep, I did not play well on defense, and that's why I got benched." So even in a team where he's scoring and dropping 30 most nights, you still, if you're not playing that two-way game that Coach Bud likes, you're going to get benched. And that's good to see that, it's a bit of a disciplined system, because last year it was just all over the shop.
For sure. And they'll learn from that too, because they need that. They need to go through the fire, this team, I think, to make them a better team. Everything was coming quite easy and they were on a roll. It's when you take that first punch and how you come back from that is how you define, your team later on down the stretch of the year. But have a look at this: 33 points, Antetokounmpo, 10 of 17 shooting, 13 of 16 from the line, 19 rebounds, 7 assists. Like, that's an insane night, man. That's insane.
The dude's a freak. He's definitely probably number one in my books for MVP at the moment.
And no Delhi tonight. No coach's
decision.
Delhi coach's decision. Yeah, DiVincenzo's back though.
He is. Pat Connaughton's been
terrible.
Woeful.
He's fallen off a cliff as well.
Woeful. So I hope to get Thon some more minutes out of that, because Thon has been somewhat more consistent than Pat.
Yeah, he played 36 minutes in this game. 2 points, 2 of 2 from the line.
That's just not productive. Did you see that thing I tagged you in?
Nah. On what?
On Instagram, Charles Barkley making Shaq just wet himself because Lonzo got a triple single.
Triple single. No, I'll have to watch this. I'll watch that after this.
That's just Shaq just losing himself, and Charles Barkley, oh yeah, Lonzo Ball got a triple single. Shaq just absolutely cacking himself. All right, last game for this Celtics and Timberwolves, and Hayward finally looks like good. A $25 million man. 30 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists. Best night so far.
For him, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic to see, getting the win against the Timberwolves, who were doing quite well after the trade, picking up Saric and Covington. Baines had no points in 17 minutes, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 block, and 5 fouls.
5 fouls, he was in foul trouble all night. Horford was back for this game. He played a lot better. And I think that's important. He had a little bit of a break, and the team found a little bit of a groove. And to add him back in after a bit of a rest, I think it's going to regenerate them a little bit, because he wasn't playing well at all.
I think you've got a roster that you can rest guys to give them body breaks. They don't need to play when they're niggly, because you've got such depth. And, you're going to get time throughout the season. You're in the East. What you want to get a top 4 spot. Who cares? And they'll be there. They'll be top 4, 100%. I still have belief in the Celtics.
Yeah.
Derrick Rose, having a great year.
Yeah, he is, man.
Vet Min, what a pickup that was. $2 million a season from the Cavs last year. Waived by them. I think he's coming back in some fantastic form. It's good to see. Anthony Towns had 20 points, 9 rebounds. Covington, 17 points, 10 rebounds. And, their team is good. The T-Wolves.
Yeah.
I think we'll see,
Saric is still struggling, but man.
He had 19 points, 14 rebounds.
Saric?
Yeah, the other night.
Against the Spurs, I think it was.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to have he's in a system he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
He's in a system that at Philly where he would just get service either by McConnell or Simmons. You're not going to get service like you do, because it's very much like that Andrew Wiggins. I'm just going to do my thing. Oh, I'm Carl Anthony Towns. I was going to do my thing. D Rose is going to do the Michael Jordan thing, and no one's really going to service Saric, who just is a knockdown shooter. That's really all it is.
Yeah.
So
he got a block though. Got off the floor for a block. It was good.
So he raised up onto his tippy toes for a block. He doesn't really get off the floor, old Saric. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
That's a wrap up on the games. Now let's get on to first some hilarity. Obviously, the Dwight Howard gluteal saga. We have to mention this. This has been out in the media recently. It has been outed by a gentleman who has long hair. Well, he identifies as male, even though it kind of looks a bit feminine. And he had a homosexual relationship with Dwight Howard. Just an FYI, this same gentleman has been trying to out other people for years and has been caught millions of times lying and creating profiles. So don't believe everything you hear from, the orgies that Dwight Howard was supposedly having with. Yeah.
Well, even if you go back and look at the history of basketball, man, there's some deviancy in some of those old players like Will
Who gives a
Chamberlain.
fuck what he does in his private life? You just, don't bring it out in public for him to, deal with, especially when he's having a gluteal injury.
Another surgery too, man. I think he's had 2 surgeries on his back now.
Coming back from a microdiscectomy for gluteals.
Vasectomy? What, a vasectomy?
Microdiscectomy.
Oh, okay. I thought you said a vasectomy. I was going to say, wow.
He's not got many. He's not got much. If you're getting that kind of spine surgery, you've not got much left in you at his age. I don't think we'll see him past this year.
2 or 3 months.
Yeah. It's not something. But it's never stable afterwards. You get hit again, you're going to have to get it fused, and then you're just out. He's not coming back. I dare say this is good old last season for old Dwighty. I don't think his body is up to it anymore.
So he had surgery at Orlando in 2012 for a back injury as well.
Yeah.
Man, brutal.
Tough times.
You're the spine man, so you'll
I am
be
the
able
spine
to
man.
break down all that.
Microdiscectomy is essentially releasing the spinal cord by taking out part of the bone, and
removing the bone.
Yeah, so small amounts of bone. They'll go in. They'll remove a little bit, so it opens the canal up, because obviously he's getting some sort of compression, whether that be from a spine
like a disc.
slip, like a slip disc. It's probably more canal stenosis from an old injury, where canal stenosis is essentially thickening of the tissue in the canal or the bone in the canal,
and that's impacting like on his nerves.
That's impacting on his nerve, and then he's getting the referred pain through his glute. So this is very common in life. We see thousands of these each year.
Mr. Spine, they call him.
Mr. Spine. But coming back from that is very tough, especially at his age. If you're in your young 20s, you might have some sort of career.
He's a big guy.
Yeah, he's a big dude. And so I doubt we'll see him very much impacting the NBA again. Right, on to the Fultz saga.
Yeah.
Man, this is a strange tale of woe.
Yeah, what have you got for me? I haven't really looked in depth into this.
He's definitely got the yips.
Yeah?
So the yips is a psychological condition where someone is unable to perform at their peak capacity based on self-doubt.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I actually thought he was doing all right. I think his mid-range pull-up game was looking better. The shot was looking more smooth. I think Drew Hanlon coming out and saying he's still not healthy didn't help the situation.
Well, I think he was distancing himself from it, wasn't he?
Drew Hanlon, no, he came out and said there's nothing wrong. Don't put shit on Markelle. He's still not right. And Markelle's like, no, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Don't talk about me being injured, because then, I can't. Well, it's essentially, he's an $8 million first round pick now, because he's number one pick, $8 million a season. That's a lot to come out of cap space if they don't need him.
So that's where I think it's kind of feeding into itself. The media is feeding into the narrative and making it like worse than it actually is.
Oh, completely. I think, Fultz is now out because of a weird thing where his lawyers and managers are like, no, we're going to get him to see a shoulder specialist. And now he's got wrist issues. And it's just like, well, what is it? You haven't been diagnosed by a shoulder surgeon. He did have a car accident. He's never quite beat the same again, but he was playing all right. I just don't think he's not a number. He's not a 2. He's not a 2 at all. He's a 1. I think he needs to go to Phoenix.
Yeah.
And be traded for Ariza. Ariza's only 1 year. No, look.
You'd love Ariza, wouldn't you?
I don't know. Hey, in Philly, I'd love Ariza. Yeah. I mean, that's if you get Ariza, you got to go for the win this year. You have the team to win this year.
So I reckon bring back Mikal Bridges. Perfect scenario. They traded him on draft night and then bring him back.
Well, the story is that Philly are trying to go for a high first round pick for Fultz, but he's not worth it.
Get as much as he can. It's just a shame that this Covington trade might not have happened. Maybe it would have happened, but
I think that you could have got away with. I mean, Jeff Teague is getting old. Derrick Rose is in form, but Fultz would have been a perfect backup and understudy to Rose. Very similar kind of style of play and how they go to the rim. That would have been a good way for a guy who was great, was then not great, and has gotten back to greatness. So it could have been that mentor that Fultz needed. Get rid of Teague, and then we keep Covington, and we're just baller. But it's not to be.
the whole narrative, man. Like, it's a similar thing to Simmons with his lack of three-pointer and jump shot in general, is how much of it's feeding back into his mind. Oh, I can't look silly trying to take jump shots, or now that I'm not taking jump shots, I can't be seen trying to take jump shots because I look like an idiot.
I think that he's had a very specific instruction from the Philly coaching staff and Brett Brown.
That's Simmons.
Yeah. You don't need to take them.
No, I don't think so either. I think this Fultz thing is a similar thing where everyone just, like, the media hype just goes so far that he's a first round pick. Why isn't he shooting? He needs to be great. Look at Tatum. He's great. This is them. And it's like, dude, these guys grow from, the age of 18 to 26.
He's 20.
And he's only 20. Like, shut up and let the guy play. If he doesn't want to play, if he does silly things, like, it's just the internet age. It's the Twitter age. I think the
problem is that they're at a point now that in 2 years, they out of first year now, next year, the team option to pick up the following year. I don't think he fits well into Philly. I think McConnell fits perfectly into that backup point guard role. I think he's a team man. He's never going to cost you $5 million. He's probably only going to be a $2 million player most of his career. That's fine.
Yeah.
He's a role player. So he's the perfect guy that you want because he's not going to cost you $12 million a backup PG, backup one. So what? We have to get Fultz good this year, and then we have to be able to trade him on for something better, either another first round pick or something.
So does the organization actually want Fultz to get better?
I think Brett Brown, they want him to get better. They wanted him to get better this year. They wanted to showcase his talents so they could trade him.
Then come out and say that. Like,
that's my thought. I don't know if they are, because Brett Brown is not the kind of guy who's going to tell anyone they're shit.
Nah,
he's going to always support and say, no, this is what you need to do. You're doing really well. Keep it up. I think Fultz minutes were good. He came off when he started playing the backup point guard role. He came up and scored efficiently. Dished okay, tracked well on defense, a little bit clumsy and fouled a bit too much sometimes, but that's young. He's learning.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was any good. I just think that it was the media.
I think it is, man. It's just
too
hard.
It's a story. What happens when there's no stories? Oh, well, let's just generate a story.
Yeah, let's just talk shit. And it's
talk
too hard to keep it under wraps.
The problem is
Andrew, he's a number one pick.
Yeah.
It's like, who cares? Like, who cares? He's a basketball player. Let the guy play basketball and showcase his talent. Yeah. That's the part that annoys me, right? Is obviously I have no skin in the game. I'm just looking at it from an outsider. But there's just so many people going, but he should be at a certain level by now. It's like, wherever he is, who cares? Like, let the guy just play for 3 or 4 years, sign his first contract, and then make an evaluation. Like, stop getting, in the guy's face and like making it, like, they're making it worse, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
because now
look at how many picks Philly's had in the top 10 over the last 5 years. They've had 2 that have come good. Yeah. Simmons and Embiid.
Yeah.
They're lucky they got.
Embiid was first, was he?
He was third. Pick third. Simmons picked first. Embiid didn't play for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
But they knew his greatness. They knew his potential. Simmons didn't play for 1 season. They knew what he was going to bring to the team. I think Saric was picked 8th. Saric was actually 12th. Success story, I think. Saric, definitely worth the 12th pick. Great player. Covington was a G League player. Got really lucky with him. Didn't get lucky with the, Nerlens Noel.
Nerlens Noel, yeah.
Yeah, Nerlens Noel. Jahlil Okafor was obviously a bust.
Yeah.
But again, that was poor scouting. The guy had no defensive skills whatsoever. Even in college, he was just a scoring machine. So the process didn't really epitomize into all these draft picks. They kind of got lucky with 2. So you can't then go around and get another number 1 draft pick and say he's going to be this great player. I don't think it works like that anymore. I think the competition's too tight.
Yeah.
I just think that we had a really good draft year last year where we had some really good players, and Markelle Fultz doesn't look like the number 1 pick anymore. And that's what everyone's blowing up about. Like, they expect the number 1 pick to look like a top 5 pick overall.
Yeah, all the time. It has to. It has to, everyone. Andrew, he has to be great. It's like, no, just let the guy play. You think about it, like, Giannis was 15. Like, I'm going back through the draft here. Giannis, 15. Who would have even known he was going to be great at 15? Anthony Bennett isn't even playing in the league. He was number 1 pick that year. You know what I mean? Like, nobody says what happened to the Cavs. Like, what happened, Cavs? Because LeBron was there and it kept it all under wraps.
Yeah.
I think the claws are coming out way too early because Philly's on the way up.
Yeah. If they were
And-
still tanking, he'd be getting so many minutes. They'd be like, oh, they're tanking.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now, by next season, he would be back in his rhythm again. The problem is they've got Ben Simmons, who is a weird play in this league. The league has never seen anything really like him before at the one. And so you've got that. You've got a really good backup point guard who's very serviceable in TJ. So where does he fit? Well, he's not a number 2. He's only a number 1. He doesn't fit into the team.
Yeah.
So what do? You send him to a place where he would fit, and he would fit in so well at Phoenix.
Yeah.
They need a 1. They need a 1 that can play off Devin Booker. And you have a big man who is almost an understudy of Embiid. You know, I think he's the 4th youngest to 300 points, 200 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton. He's having a really good season.
Yeah.
He's just playing in a terrible team.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess, that team. But what's his name? Kokoshkov, I think his name is.
Yeah.
Is a long-term coach.
I think he coaches them quite well.
Yeah.
I just think their execution and their depth of players, and Ryan Anderson's terrible signing.
Yeah, and then even Ariza, it's like...
But they're all there to get paid.
Yeah, well, that's fine. I mean, that's one part of the coaching and the system that you have to look at. That's part of that.
Yeah, like, I mean, who would sign Jared Bayless to a $8 million season deal? He's just looking to get paid.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, it's, when teams tank, players are going to go there to get paid because they know they're going to be valued higher to go and tank. And, you know, and they wouldn't get that elsewhere. So I think that he needs to get the trade either to Phoenix or to another team where we get a good stretch 4 and, you know, take things on. I think next year Chandler goes. I don't think they're going to re-sign him. If they do, he'll get, you know, screwed down massively. I just don't think he's worth $12 million. JJ will take another pay cut. Jimmy will go to the max, and we'll have between $16 and $20 million to spend on potentially a 4th player for a year contract before Simmons signs the max. Realistically,
Middleton.
Lakers. I just don't think he's defensively minded enough for Brett Brown's system.
Yeah. But I think it's that 2-3 type player that you need. Or maybe even a 4.
It's a 4. Because, I mean, at 2, you've got Shamet and Redick. And I think Shamet's fantastic defensively. I think he's really trying for a rookie who is quite deep in the 26th in the pick.
Yeah.
Man, blowing
even,
out all
Korkmaz.
expectations.
Korkmaz is only 21. Yeah.
Korkmaz is a good serviceable player. I think he thinks he's better than what he is.
Yeah.
But if he stays in the system, he'll get minutes. He's a good 2. Good 2 or 3. We need a 4. I think Muscala's a good backup 4 who can play a few minutes at 5, but we need a good stretch 4 who can shoot the ball. Chandler can't really shoot the ball. If he's really open, he can, but he can't. Anyway, that is enough about the Markelle Fultz saga.
Yeah, it's just a strange one. That's the part that just annoys me. It's just let the guy play, for God's sakes.
Yeah, definitely.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Moving on to Korver.
Yeah, we'll finish off with Korver. Strange.
Yeah, weird.
Strange
weird
trade. From my mind, you know, he's on $8 million a season. He's 37. He's probably got 1 year left, and then he can sign. He's got 1 year left on his contract. This is the final year on his contract. So it was the last year the Cavs were going to get something for him before he probably went to vet min, because who's going to sign Kyle Korver for $8 million a season next year?
Yeah.
I think probably it's just looking to get rid of a bit of cap space. Rubio comes off contract at the end of this year. Maybe they're looking to play for a big number 1. That's, you know, Utah. I think maybe, you know, quarter of the way through the season, although they've had a very, very heavy road trip part of the year. I think 26 out of the first 40 games were on the road.
Yeah.
High road numbers. They're not looking too good. And I think that's the issue they're having at the moment. And I don't think Korver adds depth. I think Grayson Allen was Korver that you've got to plug into the system more.
Yeah.
And so Korver's like this vet who is a little bit slow, who is a bit old, who can't really put the ball on the floor, but just comes off the curl and shoots.
Yeah.
Which they kind of need, but they need it in a younger form, which I thought Grayson Allen was. I thought Grayson Allen was the...
Maybe he's not ready yet, though.
But he played so well in Summer League. Like, he destroyed Summer League. I know it's...
I'm trying to picture it, and it kind of does make sense, right? You've already got Mitchell, Exum, Rubio, who can all create on the ball. And then you've got Burks, who can also create on the ball. And then you've got Royce O'Neal, who can kind of create on the ball. And then you're shoving Neto, Allen, Georges Niang in there. And they are all not too bad on the ball. They're serviceable if you need them to do something with the ball. I kind of understand putting another shooter there, like just a shooter, because then you've got Joe Ingles who can also handle the ball.
Yeah.
Like suddenly you're just cramming all these guys that need to be finishing plays in there. Like we talked about on this episode where Ingles seems to be playmaking when you're like, can you just get in the corner and somebody can play make for you?
Yes.
And you can get hot and score the ball. So that in that sense, I can kind of understand that. But I don't like giving up Burks, man. Like he was Burks kind of next in line after Mitchell and then Rubio, then Mitchell, then Exum, and then Burks.
And Exum's falling out of a bit of favour as well with Quinn Snyder. So
and they've invested in
Exum. They've just signed him to 333 by 3.
So maybe if it was Exum for Korver, maybe I can understand that. But obviously the value is different.
Maybe they'll put Exum to the Suns.
I don't think they want to trade him. It's just
you don't sign a guy who's been injured for really most of his rookie career, and
unless you want
him to be really a part of the system.
Yeah.
And, you don't dish out his minutes to Kyle Korver, who's 37. And
so I can understand Exum in the role that he's in makes sense for the team.
Yes, at this point.
And why they traded Burks is mainly because his role in the team or his role in general on the market was worth more to a team.
Yeah.
So... But there's too many ball handlers. I still think, like, with Gobert there as a non-versatile and non-quick center, there's just too many ball handlers and playmakers. Like, you need guys who can knock down shots. The other part was Kyle Korver is a veteran who can shield some of these guys a little bit.
Yeah. They can also, maybe they needed that veteran shooter in there to help train some of these guys like Grayson Allen, Georges Niang, or even Dante.
You don't really want Grayson Allen. If Grayson Allen's not ready, you don't want to just have to be like, I've got to go to Allen again. Yeah. Allen, come in, play 12 minutes, don't play that well. It's not good for his development.
No.
And yeah, you're right. Like learning from... I just think the other part is Jay Crowder is not a serviceable player in one spot. Like he's an all-round guy. Can shoot a little bit... can create off the dribble a little bit. Defensively is good. They're still lacking that one. Like besides Ingles, they're lacking that one knockdown shooter. And I mean, if the ball's going to come out of Ingles' hands a bit more, hopefully he can get on the end of some of this creation because he's really struggling this year. He's only shot at like 34%, well under 40% from last year. I think it was like 44% last year.
Yeah. But that's because he's not getting open shots and he's not getting to the right areas because he's having to like play the pick and roll or feed guys, and it's just that's not his game. His game is a high percentage 3-point shooter that's clever enough to defend well when he needs to and pinch a few balls. Like that's all you need from him. Why do you need to run this continual idea that he is like a ball handler? He's not.
Well, I think it feels like he's taking it on himself. This team's not playing well. I need to help this team by getting on the ball and helping this team, where I think it's going to help the Utah Jazz in general if they get him away from that. Like, okay, we've got another shooter, Joe. Like, you don't need to do this. You can not handle the... like. But then again, obviously that argument goes the other way as well. Like, we need another ball handler instead of Joe Ingles. Like, it's just... I don't know. I don't understand this trade, but... the Jazz need to do something. That's the other part of it. Is they're starting to panic and they were arrest momentum. They pulled the trigger on this trade. And serviceable shooter, I think you're going to get 15 minutes a night of probably no defense and a lot of offense. But
just high pace, high intensity. Yeah, but they take Gobert off.
Could give them the boost they need. I think they won the game against someone that we talked about today, Charlotte, and then they lost today.
Yeah. Again, up and down.
Yeah, it's brutal, man.
Indeed.
I feel bad because my prediction.
Mate, you can't always be right, but you know what? This is life.
It is. Such is life. I just feel bad because I feel like I put the mocker on them now.
No, you didn't. They're not listening to us all the way down here in little Australia.
Maybe they are, mate.
Maybe they are. Who knows?
But yeah, that's about it. That's good.
It's all right.
Good
it's
episode
a wrap
today.
It's a wrap. Thanks to all our listeners.
Yes, thank you for listening.
We love you
everybody.
all.
We appreciate
it. We love
it.
you all. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.
Yep.
You know where you can find us. We'll be back next time with G League and Europe special.
Still working on that. There's still more stuff to go through.
Still tons of stuff to go through. We'll be back.
Aussies playing really well.
Yep. And we'll be back later in the week with more game wraps.
Yep.
And any news that's out there.
Yep.
All right, peeps. Till next time. See ya.